Hello, my woolly friends. How are you guys? Welcome back to All the Yarn. It has been a minute. I'm usually very consistent in posting that right at the end of the month, and we're halfway through July. I never posted anything for June. A very busy June, but I have a moment, and I'm gonna try to get caught up with where I am with all of my projects. So even though it's been 6 weeks instead of just 4, I have one FO, and I'm only allowed to show you like a teensy little bit because it's a test knit where it is sneak peeks only. So I can't show the whole thing. So, but I will show you just a teaser. So here we go. It's Brioche, which everybody knows I love Brioche. Oh, that's the back. I love Brioche because it's reversible, but just a teaser. This is a pattern. It's going to be the Heather Shawl by Brynja, and I can't pronounce her last name, but she is the nicest person in the world. So as soon as the pattern goes live, I will post the link below, and definitely if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know. But she is so nice, and this is the second brioche pattern that I've tested for her. She has another pattern in the works that I love, and so I'm gonna have to buy it because it's amazing. But I didn't test that one. I just tested this one. I made mine using Lolo Did It. This is, the white is Fairy Pools, and the green is Sassenach. Sassenach. From, I think she got it from Outlander. I don't know. I did a border in the gray, and that is from, oh, she does beautiful weavings. I know this. Nanette. I think it's Nanette Wake. I'll put it down below. But this is actually, this gray I used in my brioche shawl last year. That was also a test knit from Brynja. So it was like a full circle kind of thing. It's gorgeous. I can't show it, but it's gorgeous. I'll just show just a little detail. Look at that. Isn't that fun? Look at that. Okay, I'm not gonna show anymore. I don't want to get in trouble. Life of a test knitter, right? You gotta teasers, not everything. So it is a finish shawl. That's my only FO. I have done lots of knitting though, and you'll see that in my whip. So let's get started with that. I'm going to start with my Bumblebee. And this is by Verena Cohrs, I think. Let me get my notes. I did notes, and then I left them clear over there in the corner of the room. One moment. Okay, notes make everything better. Yes, Verena Cohrs. This is my Bumblebee shawl. I've been just slowly working on it over the last couple months. It stays in my car, and if I'm in a waiting room or something, I pull it out and I do a couple rows. And I shouldn't even say a couple rows. Like, the rows are really, really long. I don't think, oh, and I'm in the middle of a row. It's in my car, so I don't really even know where I'm at most of the time with this. Here we go. So I really like it. It's the Bumblebee shawl. It has a lot of textures to it. It's in that sweet spot of not like mindless so you're bored, but because it's not so mindless that you're bored, because it has like some changing patterns here and there. But once you know the row, you know, you're not constantly looking at the pattern either. So it's just that nice mix of a little bit of change, but you're not looking at, I mean, like, you can kind of push through it unless you're, you know, only doing it picking it up every once in a while like I am. But the yellowy, speckly goodness is Madelintosh BFL Light. And then it really is pretty. I'm not selling it, but this purple squishiness is something I dyed when I was under my LindenWool line but it has problems. So I've got 5 skeins of problems, but I'm knitting it up. This is for me. I'm not giving it away. It is a lot of fun. So since I last showed you guys, if you see, yeah, like, I mean, I've got what, 5 or 6 rows, but these rows are several hundred stitches long. So it's like, okay, and there's like a lot to it yet. So this is slow going, but I'm not frustrated by that. Sometimes I want to knock projects out when they're really long rows. I'm sure some of you feel this way too. It's like, oh my gosh, one row is taking me 45 minutes. I'm never going to get done with that. And I feel you. I feel you. There are some projects that are like that. What's great about having like this designated as, hey, this is just what I pick up when I'm waiting. Then I don't care when it gets done. I know I'm constantly moving forward on it. I would be a little bit further along. I completely read the pattern wrong, which wasn't quite my fault. I had some people look at it and they're like, oh, yep, totally see where you read it that way. But it's fine. It was fine. It was so easy. I mean, it's very easy to rip out a row. It was not a big deal. And, you know, I had to go back. But yeah, so a couple of rows made. Every time I see this on camera, it's like, oh, that's so pretty. And I feel like the texture shows up better in camera than it does to the naked eye. But it's really quite, it's an enjoyable knit. So again, this is Bumblebee by Verena Cohrs. Links all below in Madelintosh BFL Light, colorway Fragile, LindenWool sock yarn, colorway, whoops. And I'm using my beautiful Stylecraft needles. I love these so much. And this is living in one of my very old bird leg bags. She is no longer sewing. I believe her, oh, I don't want to mess this up. I think it's her sister is making bags identical to this. If it's not her sister, it's like a cousin or a family member of some kind. And I'll link her shop below if she's still making them. But when Vicky, who was making bird leg bags, retired, one of her family members began making bags in her stead and using the same kind of shapes and everything. And actually I had a couple of custom bags made by her relative. So, and they were just the same quality as Vicky's. I love these bags. If you want a bird legs bag, I know that Allison at Simply Socks still has some, so I would snatch them because there's no more going to be made in the universe, and they're just perfect. They're lightweight, they're squishy. I throw this into my purse. This is going to Mexico with me. This is actually this particular bag goes on a lot of trips with me because it's perfect to just squish it up. I zip it shut. Nothing falls out. It's one of those great multi-purpose project bags. Okay, that's the Bumblebee that you guys keep seeing, and I just keep inching along on it. I introduced this next whip on my last episode. And it's very, very old, but you guys have only seen it once. And here's the progress. Let's see if I can find the one I showed last time. Nope. Nope. Okay, so on my last episode, I told you guys that I had several squares made, and I made them years and years and years ago. I started this, I bought the yarn like 11 years ago. So, I mean, it's actually over 11 years ago, but that's fine. And I thought, hey, this is the year I'm going to get this blanket done. So this is the first strip that I had made. And this square, this square, this square, and this square I had already made. And I'm turning them into strips I picked this up and just knit, and then picked up a row on this, and then did a 3 needle bind off, picked up this bind off edge here and just knit, picked up along the top row, and then did a 3 needle bind. And that's what I'm just doing that. And I am completely, I mean, it's nothing crazy. I'm making this up as I go. I'm not using overly complicated things. This is just a striped stockinette. This is garter. This is a basic waffle weave. This is garter, stockinette with a purl row, random purl row in there. And this looks like moss stitch with stripes. I mean, nothing crazy. So this strip was done on my last episode. Since then, I've put together this strip, which again, this almost looks like crochet, but it's not. It's just rows of like a row and then a yarn over row and then a row and then a yarn over row. So, I mean, and then just picked up stuff, and there's a lot of different textures going on. This was a square that I had already. This was a square I had already. And I'm just eyeballing it. I made that first strip, and I'm just trying to make all these other strips approximately that length. And we're just gonna hope it all blocks out. So that's, let's see, that was strip number 2. I've got number 3 sitting in my lap. Here we go. So this one was a little rough because I had decided to make a square. It didn't have solid edges, but I found a way to pick it up and created this. This was a square I already had done. It's my first work with Intarsia, which was not bad, you know, and it was nice that it was done on a small square so I could kind of practice. Let's see, just garter, stockinette, and seed stitch. So this is strip number 3, and it is like, when I hold it up, it looks like it's not at all the same width. It is. It's just, I've got a lot of stockinette right here, and it's curling. It's gonna block out. Famous last words, right? We'll get back into it's gonna block out later, where it's not gonna block out. But here we go. On this blanket, it's gonna block out. So again, I had this square done. I had this square done. I did not have any of this done, so I kind of ran into a snafu, but I had the yarn and I'm just knitting strips. So it's not a big deal. This was a thing that I inserted. This was an insert. This actually was an insert, even though it's huge. This is an insert, and I'll finish this strip off. I'm nearly there. I think I have like another 1.5 inches to go, and then I'll pop this guy on. And then this will be strip number 4. And so I have not normally had to knit this much, but it's because this guy, if I can get this guy was supposed to be in that strip and it did not fit. It was much, much wider than the rest of those squares. So one of the problems I've had with this blanket is that I was knitting squares. I started this as a very beginner knitter, where I did not understand yarn weight. So I have everything from sport to bulky that I'm trying to mash together. And I didn't understand, I started with sampler blankets, but I didn't understand, you know, these squares really need to be the same size. And I did not have any kind of commitment to doing that. And so I had squares of all different sizes. So when I was doing this blanket, I put them into piles of squares that looked very, very similar width. Lengths didn't matter because I was turning them into strips anyway, but I was trying to get similar widths. And I put this in with a pile. It did not match. And so what I'm going to do is I've already started. I've picked it up, and I'm just going to make a 5th strip. I'm just going to do it. Like, this is my last square. I mean, I've got this square going here, but then this is my only other square I have left. So I'm going to make a strip out of this. I have a ton of yarn. This is not even all of it. This is just what fits comfortably into my fringe supply porter bin. So once I have the strips done, then I'm going to get the strips together and just start making borders everywhere. it's a fun project. It's not something I have ever really made before. I don't think I'll ever make it again, but it is a fun project. And honestly, I've had a lot going on. It's a very mindless project. If I don't want to think about anything, I just do stockinette or I just do garter. If I'm getting tired of that, I throw in some moss stitching or I throw in mostly stockinette with a purl bump row in there. It's been very mindless. I have a family member that's been in the hospital for 2 weeks, and it's been great to take that while I'm visiting them and just chit chat away and have something for my hands to do to keep my nerves calm. So it's really been a great project. I can't tell you how excited I am that after 11 years, I don't know exactly when this blanket's going to be done, but we are really making progress on it, and that feels good. So I'd love to have this as an FO definitely by the end of the year, if not maybe even a little bit sooner. So that's been nice. We're kicking out one of the the older whips and stash. So yeah, I've made a lot of progress on that. And then one other FO that you guys have been kind of watching the progress of it grow is my Baltian. And this is a Boylan Knitworks design. Oh my goodness. What have we got going on here? Oh, I understand why too. Okay. So I just tried this on. So I'd put an extra set of needles in it to try it on. Oh, and it's inside out. Oh, some people do this professionally, and they're much better at this than I am. Okay, so this is, again, Baltian by Boylan Knitworks. This white is Cloudborne Fibers and alpaca, like Surrey alpaca. And then the peachy pink is Peche Mignon by Aimee. Okay, how gorgeous is this, right? I mean, I've really worked on making sure that I've been alternating skeins and everything. Very, very pretty. So, I got a problem though. And it's a rather large problem. So give me a minute because I'm going to put this on. Okay, gang. I kid you not. I am where the pattern is saying, go ahead and put in 2 inches of ribbing because you're done. What? I don't know about you, but like, I thought it was going to be coming down to here. And I don't think 2 inches of ribbing. That's not going to block out, folks. It's not going to block out. So, I was like, okay, did I do the wrong side? Well, there's a ton of ease. I mean, there's a ton of ease in this sweater. I could have definitely made these larger. I can see, I mean, I already added an inch and a half. I've got big upper arms. I'm buff. You can't see it, but I promise you, I got some guns. They're hiding. Anyway, so I don't mind ripping back to the sleeves. I'm making these larger because these are supposed to be very, very loose, more dolman. But guys, this is a kind of a disaster. Okay, so I'm gonna take this off. Okay, let's talk a moment about body shapes because I ran into this earlier on another project and I talked about it, but I didn't really go into much like in depth into it. I have a long torso. And one of my local knitting friends also has a long torso. And we both made the Ho-He staple linen top, which I just talked about like in my last episode. And I told you guys that I had added extra inches. So she also was making the staple linen top. And I had told her it was kind of fitted. So she adjusted her size because we're pretty similar in size. And so she had asked me, you know, how this one fit and everything. And she kind of chose a different size based on how this one was fitting me. But then she started getting into the length, and she said, did you add more inches? And I said, yeah, I went until I ran out of yarn. And so she's like, I don't think this is going to work. So this is my staple linen top. It's been sitting in the closet folded, so you got a little crease there. Okay. I'm going to throw it on real quick so you guys can see my pain here. Okay, and I'm even going to stand up so you guys can see this a little bit better. Okay, Hohe says, the pattern says, I apologize in advance if this is giving away secret sauce. I don't feel that it is, but I apologize if I don't think this is. I'm just going to tell you guys. Hohe says to knit until you're 10 inches from the armpit, which is right here, which, if anybody cares to know, my pants come up right here. That's where they're sitting. Okay, so this would be extremely high for me. And when I look at the pictures of Hohe modeling this, it comes to slightly below her pants. It doesn't do that for me. So I actually added an additional 6 inches. So all this extra right here is extra that I added specifically for my body type. It wasn't even, it's not even that, oh, I'm just very, very modest. This is how it kind of looks in her pictures. I mean, maybe it's well, I guess maybe it's about this. That's how it kind of looks in her pictures, that it's just, there's just a little bit of overlap here, you know, but for me, I mean, that still would have been an additional couple of inches. And then this is right where I like things to hit. An extra 6 inches. That's what she said. So us long torso people, you know, everybody's got their own unique, how do I say this? So everybody is unique, you know, and every knitter, crocheter, sewist, maker of their own clothes, you know, part of being successful at making things that fit you is getting to know your body. There are many patterns that I do not have to add extra length to. And then I know, like anything that's naturally cropped, I know to stay away from. It's just going to look a lot different on me than on someone that has not a long torso. And things that hit at, you know, a natural waist for me need to be quite a bit longer, you know, 4 to 6 inches longer, in order for them to kind of give off the same look that the designer maybe intentioned. So I know, God, what was it, 2 years ago? If you guys watch the Chevy Rel podcast here on YouTube, no, Chevy Rel Stuff. Yep, the Chevy Rel Stuff channel here on YouTube. Look back, I think it was around September, October of 2019. She's in my knitting group. Like, we know each other. And honestly, a handful of us in my local knitting group got together and grabbed not even all, but a lot of the sweaters we had knit, and we all tried on each other's sweaters. Now, it really worked out because a lot of us always knit the same size, but you could see, like, you know, it would be the same sweater on each of us, and it looked completely different, you know, because even though the same size was the right size for us, our shapes are very different. Our shapes are so different that, I mean, it looked very different. And so there is a moment in there where I've tried on, I thought it was more of a cropped sweater, but it might have even been a boxy sweater. And I was like, I don't like these because they just don't work for me. Boxies don't typically work for me because I have that long torso. And so they don't end where they're supposed to end. And then if I add length, I start getting like that tent feeling where there's just so much fabric. I feel like my body shape is getting lost in the mix. So yeah, some of you probably, I know Chevy sometimes mentions my channel as well. So some of you may already be watching Chevy, maybe you saw it. But I'd encourage you guys to watch it again and look at how it changes shape, not just because of like maybe our widths, but also because of our lengths. And I kind of want to do that video again, maybe not with so many sweaters because there were a ton of sweaters. Maybe not with so many. Maybe we grab like very specific ones and put them on again. But now this time, let's talk about how it fits differently because of our shapes. You know, some of us have broader shoulders. Some of us have broader chests. Some of us have broader hips. Some of us are shorter in our torso. Some of us are longer in our torso. And I think that would be helpful to see. You know, there's nothing wrong with the boxy. I'm not anti-boxy. I just don't want to make it for me because I don't like it. I don't like I said, I don't like where it hits me. And then when I add length, I don't like that because I feel like I cannot be the only person here that understands what I mean when I say I'm wearing a tent. You know, like there's just so much fabric, and because it's boxy, there's no shaping, and I just don't feel good in it, you know? So anyway, going back to that staple linen top, I was talking to my other long torsoed friend, and she said, well, you know, are we just, you know, freaking alien people that we have? Do we have stretched out alien bodies? And I mean, you know, you got to laugh sometimes at some, you know, the weird life struggles that sometimes come up. It's fine. Really, you know, I can find clothes. But we laughed at it that, you know, I needed an extra 6 inches of length on this top in order for it to feel comfortable. And honestly, I love it. And I did not think I liked it when I first put it on because the ease wasn't there that I was expecting. But I really do love it. In fact, I don't know that knitting with linen, 100% linen, is my favorite because it's so prone when it's in the ball to just it just pops off. Like, I mean, I can't move that. I don't even put it into a project bag. I put it on my knitting table next to my knitting spot, and I don't move it, you know, because jostling around it all, it's going to just, I don't want to deal with that kind of yarn management. But I like that shell so much that when I can get my hands on some 100% linen again, I really want to make it again in a different color. I really like the Derirum Natura Antigon base. I would probably, they have different colorways. I don't want to make another pamplemousse, another grapefruit colored one, obviously, but they've got some gorgeous other colorways that I would love to make, you know, another shell or something. I mean, another staple linen top. And now I know I'm going to need 3 skeins because of how much extra that I need for the bottom length. So anyway, all that to say, this is not going to work the way, I mean, and it's not anything wrong with the pattern. The pattern is correct. You know, this really would end about where that staple linen top would end, and then it'd block a little bit longer. And it probably fits the vast majority of people. It's not going to fit me. I need another 4 to 6 inches of length added onto this. I do have, I believe I have enough yarn to make this work. I have a whole nother skein that I have not gotten into, and I still have, I think, quite a bit. Oh yeah. So this is my second skein, And I've got a third skein that I haven't even touched yet. So I have enough yarn. And I think just in case I noticed that La Bien Aimee had this in stock. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and purchase a couple extra skeins just to, be safe. But because of the shape of this, let's see if I can pull this up here. So there's the armhole. I know I need to rip back to the armhole at bare minimum. I need to rip back to the armhole. And then there's all these decreases. What I don't know is, like, I easily could add another 2 to 3 inches here, but I then still need to add another, 2 to 4 inches, 2 to 3 inches here. I have some ideas. I think I can play with the decrease rate to add some extra length that way. I don't want to add 4 inches of ribbing at the bottom. That would change the entire top. At that point, now you have a different kind of top. So, and I mean, the top part hits right. Everything about the top is fine. It really is. Once we get to the sleeve, I know I need to make the sleeves longer anyway. They fit, but they're supposed to be drapey and loose. So my monster arms, even with the extra amount of, even though I made this bigger than it called for, my monster arms, it's not working. So I know I need to make this bigger. So I'm going to rip back to here, and I'm going to put in several more inches here. And then my next idea is to play with the decrease, because again, this really is the right size. There is a ton of ease on this. Because I did consider that, like, oh, did I knit the right size? I kind of went back to, but I really did. I mean, all of the measurements are right, and the gauge is right. So everything is, it's just my freakishly long alien body, I guess, I don't know. So anyway, yeah, I stopped knitting on this because I needed a moment to just stop and think. I was very disappointed that, oh my gosh, we're at the ribbing and this is not going to work. And I loved this. So I was having so much fun. Everything was going so well. And then you run into this where, oh my gosh, like, this barely covers the girls. And they're telling me to add ribbing at this point. Like, that's not going to look pretty. That's not going to look good on me. And it's not even that I'd be showing things that maybe I don't want to show. That's not the way this sweater was intended to fit. I wanted the sweater the way it was intended to be. And so now I've just got to figure out, how do I modify that to get it to my body shape? And sometimes modifications are super easy. Like with the staple linen top, there was no shaping involved. I just had to go around and around and around and around and around for an additional 6 inches more than what the pattern called for. In this case, because of all the shaping, it is a little more math intense, a little more labor intense to figure out how to add an additional 4 to 6 inches of length onto this sweater. But I love the sweater. It's so pretty. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty and fuzzy, and I love it. And I wish I was wearing it now. But I'm not. In fact, I'm going to be doing the opposite, because again, I got to take it back. I think I've cut the yarn one time, because you go back and forth. I mean, obviously the sleeves are knit flat. Like, I don't think that's giving away anything, because I think that's intuitive if you've been knitting sweaters at all. So I did cut the yarn there, which is unfortunate, because I'm really going to need all the yarn possible. Well, I need to get onto and order probably another skein or two just to be safe, because now we're going into the land of major modification, and there's no telling how much yarn you're going to need, so this is one of those times where if I want to keep going in the yarns that I'm doing, it's time to get more of the colorway, because what I don't want to do is find the modification that works and then run out of yarn and it's not available, it's not in stock, and I have to wait for an update, because then it waits forever and that sucks. So I need to get that going now, or rip it all the way out, start fresh with new yarn that I know I have plenty of, because the land of modification, you don't know how much yarn you're going to be using, because it is unknown territory. You are forging ahead in the world of unknown, which can be fun. And certainly it's worth it to find, to make the piece fit you. But so, like I said, some modifications are super easy. You can just add length, or depending on what your modification is. Well, with my larger arms, I'm just gonna, make sure I add length right, not just in the decrease, but I'm gonna add length right there as well. And I've certainly made many modifications for larger arms in sweaters. And there's many different ways to do that. That could be another episode if anybody else suffers from larger arms than what the pattern calls for. There's many ways to modify for that. So anyway, those are all of my whips, and that's also my commentary on long torso bodies and how sweaters fit or don't fit per the pattern. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you had fun and maybe learned something or two, then please feel free to like, subscribe, sign up for notifications, leave a comment below. I love when you guys leave comments. I always comment back. It's nice to have a conversation about what's going on over here in the All the Yarn channel. So yeah, have a great day and make good decisions. Talk to you guys later. See ya.